I was asked a question that I've never been asked before. A question about transition that I, 45 years post-transition, have never been asked before. If I was the mother of a trans child, at what age would I let that child socially transition? Good question, right? Before I tell you what I told them, I'm going to say a lot of you aren't going to like this. First, I clarified. Are we talking about some hypothetical world, or are we talking about the world, real world today? So we established no hypotheticals, the real world. First, I said, it depends on the kid. Then I added, I would make my kid feel loved, they'd feel accepted, they would feel understood. But as that child's mother, my role, one of my primary roles, would be to protect my child. Socially transition means go out in the world, not what you do at home. Go out in the world. I would not let my child go to school in elementary school dressed as they identify. No. School is hard enough. There are very few things on this big, beautiful green earth that are crueler than kids. I'm all for self-expression, expressing yourself, but there is not enough good that transitioning so young could bring that would outweigh all the damage that doing it would at that young age socially. I'd also want my trans child to understand that clothes aren't the thing that makes you trans. I'd start on the inside way, way, way before we did anything to the outside. The absolute very last thing I'd want to do to my child, not your child, my child, would be to make them the living example of a hot button issue. Children shouldn't be put in the position or allowed to put themselves in the position to have to fight things that adults fight, not kids. It's not that fight. If my child wanted to parade around at home, yes, parade around, I'll parade with you. And they asked, well, what about junior high? Then I said, it really would depend on the kid. 7th grade, I'd probably still say no. 8th grade, maybe. 9th grade, they'd have to decide for themselves. By then, I would have taught them to protect themselves. By then, I might have shared all my horror stories with them. When I can't be there to protect them, they better be able to protect themselves. I would ask my child, what do you think the purpose of school is? If they answered anything besides to learn, I'd kick them in their ass. Then I'd ask, how does dolling up make you learn any better? I tell them, you can be just as see you next Tuesday in a pair of sweatpants and a sweatshirt as you can in some dress. As far as makeup goes, I'm really not a makeup person, and I wear it when I want to, and that's the same kind of thing. Why do you want to wear a face full of makeup while you're so young? It's the last time you're going to look good without it. I would teach my child to learn the difference between societal pressures of how to look and what girls are and what boys are, and separate it from their desires, from what they want, from how they really want to look. Just because their friend Becky, Becky with the good hair, wants to dress trashy rather than classy, that doesn't mean that's right for her. They asked, what about the people who say that if I don't let them do it, if I don't let them live exactly as they want, they're going to self-delete? You know how many generations of trans children there's been before this one? A hell of a lot. For the vast majority of all those generations before this one, we didn't even think about doing stuff like that. If that's where your child goes first, that's because they've been taught to think that way. Kids don't think that way without being taught to think that way. No is a part of life, and learning to deal with it is going to help a lot. Learning to stay in the inquiry phase a little bit longer before jumping to a decision is going to serve them very well throughout their lives. It's not no, it's not now. I don't know how being the only girl in the 9th grade with a full beard and a hairy chest is going to help. If by the time they went to high school they could handle all that and they felt like they could manage it all, then I'd say go for it. But don't come home crying every day, because you know what I'm going to tell you? To take off the friggin' dress and wait until you can pull it off a little bit better. I was thrown out of 3 high schools, and I never wore a dress to school. 3 high schools, not because I did anything bad, and I was a pretty good student. It was only because I wasn't fish, I was barracuda. And it was easier for the kids, the school administrators, the principals, and everybody else if they just got me out of school. The best years of a child's life are ahead of them. And it's a parent's job to keep them alive long enough that they could experience those days without physical scars or emotional scars that ruin the rest of their lives. That's what I said. I support trans children 100%, unequivocally, without reservation. But no, I will not subject them to this America. I won't do it.